Why do you even want the watch trace? It's a fucking blue LED. Whatever, man.
It just helps us tell different LEDs apart.
In 1962, General Electric engineer Nick Holonyak created the first visible
Oh,
LED.
I'll watch it. But I'm gonna
It
speed up.
glowed a faint
Why is Firefox so bad? So like 1.5. Lock in, boys.
red. A few years after that, engineers at Monsanto created a green LED. But for decades, all we had were those two colors. So LEDs could only be used in things like indicators, calculators, and watches.
See, we only had blue and green LEDs. We only had blue and green LEDs for 20 plus years. Why? Why is it so hard to make blue ones? What?
Only we could make blue. Then we could mix red, green, and blue to make white, and every other color, unlocking LEDs for every type of lighting in the world, from light bulbs to
Can't you just make a red one or a green one, and then use a blue, like a blue plastic?
phones to computers to TVs to billboards. Throughout the 1960s, every big electronics company in the world, from IBM to GE to Bell Labs, raced to create the blue LED. They knew it would be worth billions. Despite the efforts of thousands of researchers, nothing worked. 10 years after Holonyak's original LED turned into 20, then 30, and the hope of ever using LEDs for light faded away.
30 years?
According to a
Is that
director at
true?
Monsanto, these won't ever replace the kitchen light. They'd only be used in appliances, car dashboards, and stereo sets to see if the stereo was on.
This might still be true today, if not for one engineer who defied the entire industry and made 3 radical breakthroughs to create the world's first blue LED.
The world's first blue LED. Steamy up a PhD in chemistry. Is this chemistry? Is this not like electrical engineering? Is this chemistry? Does this count as chemistry? I thought this would be like electrical engineering or something, no?
Shuji Nakamura was a researcher at a small Japanese chemical company named Nichia. They had recently expanded into the production of semiconductors to be used in the manufacture
So mix. Sorry, this is a bit too fast for me.
of red and green LEDs. But by the late 1980s, the semiconductor division was on its last legs. They were competing against far more established companies in a crowded market, and they were losing. Tensions started to run high. Younger employees begged Nakamura to create new products, while senior workers called his research a waste of money.
Nakamura, please,
And at
make me
Nichia,
good project.
money was in short supply. Nakamura's lab mainly consisted of machinery he had scavenged and welded together himself. Phosphorus leaks in his lab created so many explosions that his coworkers had stopped checking in on him.
What? This sounds so fake, man. This is like what, 40 years ago? What are you talking about? There's no way. There's no way. Shit kept blowing up in his house, so people stopped gaming. No way. Maybe 200 years ago. Sulfur explosions in the 90s and 80s, and no one cares. Okay, right.
By 1988, Nakamura's supervisors were so disillusioned with his research that they told him to quit. So it was out of desperation that he brought a radical proposal to the company's founder and president, Nobuo Ogawa. The elusive blue LED that the likes of Sony, Toshiba, and Panasonic had all failed at. What if Nichia could be the
It was his lab at the office on he worked at. Yeah, but explosions are explosions. Like if Steph is like shaking the ground, so okay, like how did it happen?
one to create it? After suffering loss after loss on their semiconductors for more than a decade, Ogawa took a gamble. He devoted 500 million yen, or $3 million, likely around 15% of the company's annual profit, to Nakamura's moonshot project.
What?
Everyone knew that LEDs had the potential to replace light bulbs, because light bulbs, the universal symbol for a bright idea.
Guys, I'm not gonna lie, bro. LEDs are actually peak. Am I crazy? I love LEDs. I remember when we like started replacing all our light bulbs with LEDs, and the LEDs came in the phones and in the cars, like LED headlights. So cool, man. Look at this stinky warm glow. Blah, blah.
Are actually terrible at
Stinky
making
warm
light.
glow.
They work by running current through
Imagine using 50 watts for lighting. Oh my god, 50 watts for lighting? I didn't Google this. I have heard this statistics before. Like I think like 98% or more of the light of a incandescent light bulb, like 98% of the energy in a normal light bulb just goes into heat. That's why they're so bad, right? You spend the vast majority of the electricity just on heat, not actually lighting stuff up.
a tungsten filament which gets so hot it glows. But most of the
Okay, well, like as you were just saying, I don't like cars with the new headlights with LED. People don't know that they need to regulate them. First of all, it's not the people driving. It's always the manufacturer. The manufacturer is the one not adjusting the headlights. You don't want Karen at 55 to adjust her headlights manually. That should not be her responsibility. That's on the manufacturer. But another problem is, especially in America, American cars are so tall, especially the tracks. Really, really tall tracks. So they, even if they're adjusted down, they're still gonna hit you in the eyes. But that's also no. This is not a tech fault. It's not a tech fault. The problem is the implementation of the technology. You know what I mean? It's the implementation. Like the LEDs don't have to be inherently bad, but how they are implemented is bad. You see what I'm saying?
Magnetic radiation comes out as infrared heat. Only a negligible fraction is visible light. In contrast, LED stands for light-emitting diode. It's right there in the name. LEDs primarily create light, so they're far more efficient. And a diode is just a device with 2 electrodes, which only allows current to flow in one direction.
So here's how an LED works.
I love LEDs!
When you have an isolated atom, each electron in that atom occupies a discrete energy level. You can think of these energy levels like individual seats from a hockey stadium. And all atoms of the same element, when they are far apart from each other, have identical available energy levels. But when you bring multiple atoms together to form a solid, something interesting happens. The outermost electrons now feel the pull not only of their own nucleus, but of all the other nuclei as well.
Here's my light bulb technology tier list. Number 1, S++ tier LED. Number 2 is that mercury, the mercury ones. See the white tubes that are, if they blow up, you have to leave the building. That's number 2. Number 3 is flash bulbs. Number 4, normal incandescent bulbs.
And as a result, their energy levels shift. So instead of being identical, they become a series of closely spaced but separate energy levels, an energy band. The highest energy band with electrons.
Hold up. Let me Google this. Light bulb technology. Here we go. Yeah. This, the fluorescent CFL. That's a close second. It goes LED, CFL, then incandescent. Am I wrong or no? Sorry, I'll document for you guys. Sorry. You know what's crazy? Oh, gee, you're fucking right. The one above incandescent is the chemical burning like little lighter they use on the mining helmets.
In it is known as the valence band, and the next higher energy band is called the conduction band. You can think of it like the balcony level. In conductors, the valence band is only partially filled.
It's not oil.
This means
it's not oil. It's water dripping into some chemical. It's literally water dripping into chemical, and that chemical reacts and turns into vapor, and you light the vapor on fire.
with a little bit of thermal energy, electrons can jump into nearby unfilled seats. And if an electric field is applied, they can jump from one unfilled seat to the next and conduct current through the material. In insulators, the valence band is full, and the difference in energy between the valence and conduction bands, the band gap, is large. So when an electric field is applied, no electrons can move. There are no available seats to move into in the valence band, and the band gap is too big for any electrons to jump into the conduction band.
Oh, Labica came out. Literally a mining helmet. Mining lantern. It is called a carbide lamp. It is called a carbide lamp. Carbide lamp. This is what they had before these, if there's it's literally, there's like water dripping onto some mineral. The mineral turns into gas, and the gas flows out and it's on fire. It's super reliable. It's been used for a long time.
Which brings us to semiconductors. Semiconductors are similar to insulators, except the band gap is much smaller. This means at room temperature, a few electrons will have sufficient energy to jump into the conduction band, and now they can easily access nearby empty seats and conduct current. Not only that, the empty seats they left behind in the valence band can also move. Well, really, it's the nearby electrons jumping into those empty seats, but if you look from afar, it's as though the empty seat or hole is moving, like a positive charge, in the opposite direction to the electrons in the conduction band.
What?
By themselves, pure semiconductors are not that useful. To make them way more functional, you have to add impurity atoms into the lattice. This is known as doping. For example, in silicon, you can add a small number of phosphorus atoms. Phosphorus is similar to silicon, so it easily fits into the lattice, but it brings with it one extra valence electron. This electron exists in a donor level just beneath the conduction
What's a valence electron?
band. So with a bit of thermal energy, all these electrons can jump into the conduction band and conduct current. Since most of the charges that can move in this type of semiconductor are electrons, which are negative, this sort of semiconductor is called N-type, N for negative. But I should point out that the semiconductor itself is still neutral. It's just that most of the mobile charge carriers are negative. They are electrons. So there is also another type of semiconductor where most of the mobile charge carriers are positive, and it's called P-type. To make P-type silicon, you add a small number of atoms of, say, boron. Boron fits into the lattice, but brings with it one fewer valence electron than silicon, so it creates an empty acceptor level just above the valence band. And with a bit of thermal energy, electrons can jump out of the valence band, leaving behind holes. It is these positive holes which are mostly responsible for carrying current in the P-type semiconductor.
What the fuck
Again,
is
the material
going on?
overall is uncharged, it's just that most of the mobile charge carriers are positive holes.
Do not act Do not act like you guys know what a valence band is. Don't act like you guys know what a positive charge holder is. Shut up, man.
Things get interesting
Shut up,
is when you
man.
put a piece of p-type and
I believe
n-type
you.
together. Without even connecting this to a circuit, some electrons will diffuse from n to p and
If we
fall
know-
into the holes in the p-type. This makes the p-type a little negatively charged and the n-type a little positively charged. So there is now an electric field inside an inert piece of material. Electrons keep diffusing
Madam,
until the
I
electric
am
field
an
becomes so
electrical
large,
engineer.
it prevents them from
my
crossing
God.
over. And now we have established the depletion region, an area depleted of mobile charge carriers. There are no electrons in the conduction band and no holes in the valence band.
Okay, let me test them. What's a mobile charge carrier? What's a mobile charge carrier? What's a mobile charge carrier? And how does it interact with the depletion band? Good luck. I'm waiting. I can't wait to hear this explanation. I'm power bugged. It's an iPhone.
If you connect a battery the wrong way to this diode, it simply expands the depletion region until its electric field perfectly opposes that of the battery, and
A
no
mobile
current
charge
flows.
carrier is kind of like your mom.
But if you flip the polarity of the battery, then the depletion region shrinks, the electric field decreases, and electrons can flow from N to P. When an electron falls from the conduction band into a hole in the valence band, that band gap energy can be emitted as a photon. The energy change of the
I
electron
might
is
be
emitted
stupid.
as light, and this is how a light-emitting diode works. The size of the band gap determines the color of the light emitted. In pure silicon, the band gap
Oh, wait, I get it now. A diode only lets electricity move one way. And when electrons jump these distances in the electron cloud, they have to lose energy. They're losing energy, and depending on how much energy they lose, that's the wave, that's the frequency of photons it emits. Because when an electron jumps, it has to release photons. And a big jump is infrared. A small jump is ultraviolet.
is only 1.1 electron
I got it
volts,
now, I got it
so
now.
the photon
I got it
released
now.
isn't visible. It's
I
infrared.
These
got it now.
LEDs are actually used in remote controls like for your TV, and you can capture them on camera. Moving up the
got it
spectrum,
now.
you can see why the first visible light
learned
LEDs
it.
were red and then green, and why blue was so hard. A photon of blue light requires more energy and therefore a larger band gap.
Exactly.
By the
exactly.
1980s
You need more energy. When you're jumping that gap to create blue or ultraviolet UV, you need a bigger gap. And that gap, it's hard to cross that gap reliably. That's why it's so hard to make blue LED. That's why it's also so hard to make ultraviolet LEDs. If you Google ultraviolet LEDs, they're giga expensive. And this is probably why.
After hundreds of millions of dollars had been spent hunting for the right material, every electronics company had come up empty-handed. But researchers had at least figured out the first critical requirement: high-quality crystal. No matter what material you used for the blue LED, it required a near-perfect crystal structure. Any defects in the crystal lattice disrupt the flow of electrons, so instead of emitting their energy as visible light, it is instead dissipated as heat. So the first step in Nakamura's proposal to Ogawa
Heat.
was to disappear
My
to
biggest
Florida.
enemy.
He knew an old colleague there whose lab was
Whoa! We invented one of the most important LEDs in history in fucking Florida? The ass crack of America? No way. No way.
beginning to use a new crystal-making technology called metal organic
No way.
chemical vapor deposition,
I don't believe
or
that.
MOCVD.
I don't believe that
An
for one
MOCVD
second.
reactor, essentially a giant oven, was and still is the best way to mass-produce clean crystal. It works by injecting vapor molecules of your crystal into a hot chamber, where they react with a
Vapor? Like vape? Didn't we like stop vaping like only a couple of years ago?
base material called a substrate to form layers. It's important that the substrate lattice matches the crystal lattice being built on top of it to create a stable, smooth crystal. This is a precise art. The crystal layers often need to be as thin as just a couple of atoms. Nakamura joined the lab for a year to master
Wait, that's crazy. We had no idea how to make blue LEDs. Then some freaking Japanese guy flew to Florida, vaped some THC, he hit the blicky, and now we have blue LEDs. That's crazy. Some chemical engineer from Japan flew to America, flew to Florida, hit the blicky, leaned back, and was like, hold up, that's how I'll make a blue LED. That's crazy.
MOCVD. But his time there was miserable. He wasn't allowed to use the working MOCVD, so he spent 10 of his 12 months assembling a new system almost from scratch. Even worse, his lab mates shunned him, because Nakamura didn't have a doctorate, nor any academic papers to his name, as Nichia didn't allow publishing. His lab mates, all PhD researchers, dismissed him as a lowly technician. This experience fueled him. Nakamura wrote, "I feel resentful when people look down on
He looks pissed. Oh my god. He looks pissed. He looks pissed, bro. I feel resentful when people look down on
I
me.
developed more fighting spirit. I would
developed
not allow
more
myself to be
fighting
beaten
spirit.
by
I
such
would
people."
not allow myself to be beaten by such people.
He returned to Japan in
He
1989
literally locked in and went to demon mode. Respect.
with two things in hand. One, an order for a brand new MOCVD reactor for Nichia, and two, a fervent desire to get his PhD. At that time in Japan, you could earn a PhD without having to go to university, simply by publishing 5 papers.
Nakamura had
What?
always known his chances of inventing the blue LED were low, but now he had a backup plan. Even if he didn't succeed, he could at least get his PhD. But now the question was, with MOCVD under his belt, which material should he research?
By this time, scientists had narrowed the options down to 2 main candidates, zinc selenide and gallium nitride. These were both semiconductors with band gaps theoretically in the blue light range. Zinc selenide was the far more promising option. When grown in an MOCVD reactor, it had only a 0.3% lattice mismatch with its substrate, gallium arsenide. Therefore, zinc selenide crystal had about 1,000 defects per square centimeter, with
Oh, wait! Oh my god! I get it now. This is what a semiconductor is. It's literally these 2 fucking different elements, these different crystal structures interacting, and they will only go one way. And you need to find these 2 crystal structures that perfectly fit. You need to find these 2 crystal structures who perfectly fit together, where the energy which is released when an electron jumps over here, exact energy level when it jumps over. So the photon it releases is blue. It has enough energy for blue. Holy. Yeah, you need to find, you need to find the perfect things. Not just like, here's two different molecules that will work. These molecules also have to be producible, and they have to be not exorbitantly expensive. Like, no one is ever going to use blue LEDs if every single blue LED costs $1,000, right? Like, it's impossible. It needs to work together, and it needs to be cheap enough to produce to not like be unusable. Oh, I get it now. But am I a PhD
the
student?
upper limit for LED functioning. Its only issue was that while scientists had figured out multiple different ways to create N-type zinc selenide, no one knew how to create P-type. In contrast, gallium nitride had been abandoned by almost everybody for 3 reasons. First, it was much harder to make a high-quality crystal. The best substrate for growing gallium nitride was sapphire, but its lattice mismatch was 16%. This resulted in higher defects, over 10 billion per square centimeter.
Cannot do that.
The second problem was that, like zinc selenide, scientists had only ever created N-type gallium nitride using silicon. P-type was elusive. And third, to be commercially viable, a blue LED would have to have a total light output power of at least 1,000 microwatts. That's 2 orders of magnitude more than any prototype had ever achieved. So between the 2 candidates, almost all researchers were focused on zinc selenide.
Yeah, that's crazy because we had managed to produce blue light out of semiconductors, but it was so disgustingly unusably inefficient that no one used them. You literally needed a new LED that was 1,000 times better. 1,000 times better.
Nakamura surveyed the crowded field and
Gallium is a scary commodity parallel. I thought gallium was safe. Isn't gallium the fucking metal people touch all the time? They're like, hey, this is gallium. It melts in my hand. Am I crazy? I thought gallium was a metal that melted at like 35 degrees, and people like held it in their hand. I'm like, this is gallium. It's safe compared to mercury. No, I'm not crazy.
decided that if he were going to publish 5 papers by himself,
No, mercury is liquid. Mercury is liquid always. Gallium is not liquid at room temp, but it's liquid at like 40 degrees Celsius. So it's like right above. Mercury is always liquid in room temp. Gallium at room temp is solid, but if you warm it up in hot water, it will melt. Mercury is toxic.
he'd better
Prove it.
focus on gallium nitride, where the competition was much less fierce.
This material's main claim to fame was one development back in 1972, when RCA engineer Herbert Maruska made a tiny gallium nitride blue LED.
Guys, tangent time. Is it crazy how RCA just completely died out? RCA, one of the biggest chemical and electrical companies in the world, completely died out. Like, completely got bankrupted in like 10 years. And it was literally because they tried to make, was it Laserdisc? Was Laserdisc why they went bankrupt? I think they tried, was it Laserdisc? Like RCA tried to make some VHS killer, and it completely flopped, and they went bankrupt. Isn't that crazy?
But it was dim and inefficient, so RCA slashed the project's budget, calling it a dead end. 20 years later, scientific opinion hadn't changed. When Nakamura attended the biggest applied physics conference in Japan, the talks on zinc selenide
Weren't they both like, they might have been, I'm pretty sure now, tangent mode, I'm pretty sure RCA, They did radio and stuff, and they completely fell apart when they tried to make a computer to the VHS. It's like down here somewhere. Later years, they did get bought by GE in 1985. Those after they fell from they fell from grace like crazy. They tried to make some like crazy thing. Why did RCA fail? RCA failed due to a combination of strategic blunders, intense internal competition, and missed technological opportunities, particularly after its post-predominance. Like RCA was the biggest electronic company in the world, and they just fell off the fucking side of the earth. Yeah, like they tried to make a competitor to VHS, and it completely failed. It completely failed. Of course, downfall. They were acquired after they lost so much value. Crazy stuff.
Had
The
over
biggest company in
500
America.
attendees. The talks on gallium nitride had 5.
Is this something chemists do, by the way? They go and watch. They go and watch talks on gallium nitride and zinc sulfide. Is that something people like? My God, sorry, but you have to be the biggest nerd in the world. Like, I went to the zinc nitride talk the other day. Like, what?
Selenide hadn't changed. When Nakamura attended the biggest applied physics conference in Japan, the talks on zinc selenide had over 500 attendees.
Like, they talked on zinc selenide? What the fuck do you mean? I mean, I'm sorry. These guys are fucking heroes, by the way. These guys are heroes. But it's like crazy going to a talk about one singular crystal structure. Going to a talk about zinc selenide. Steamy does not understand the allure of chemicals. It's true. It's probably true.
The talks on gallium nitride had 5.
Why is the gallium nitride talks so uninteresting, but the zinc cyanide talks are so fucking amazing? Everyone goes there. Like, what? What's the difference? It's 2 different crystals. What?
5. 2 of those 5 attendees were the world experts on gallium nitride, Dr. Isamu Akazaki and his former grad student, Dr. Hiroshi Amano. In contrast to Nakamura's academic background,
I do think though, this kind of hyper specialization with like the thing I do and the thing I study and the thing I research is so monstrously condensed into this one small little thing is really cool. I think it's so cool. Like, my entire life has been spent on researching this minuscule little thing that no one understands. Yeah, hyper specialization. It's so cool. That's so cool.
Researchers at Nagoya University, one of Japan's best. A few years earlier, they had made a breakthrough on the first problem of high-quality crystal. Instead of growing gallium nitride directly on sapphire, they first grew a buffer layer of aluminum nitride. This has a lattice spacing in between that of the other 2 materials, making it easier to grow a clean gallium nitride crystal on top. The only issue was that the aluminum caused problems for the MOCVD reactor, making the process hard to scale. But Nakamura wasn't even close at this stage. Back at Nichia, he couldn't get gallium nitride to even grow normally in his new MOCVD reactor. After 6 months, desperate for results, he decided to take the machine apart and build a better version himself.
What? He took his machine apart and built it himself? What? Excuse me? He took apart his highly, ultra-specified scientific equipment and built one himself? Excuse me? Excuse me. This guy might be God. This guy might be God. It's like literally going, no, that's crazy. It's like, I'm researching coding. I'm like, oh, my CPU isn't performing. I will make a new CPU so my coding will be better. Like what? Crazy. Like, imagine being a carpenter and being like, you know what? I'm gonna invent a new type of nail or a new type of nail gun. Like, what? That's so crazy. Yo, respect.
His
That's
10 months
insane.
spent putting together the reactor in Florida were
That's
suddenly
insane.
invaluable. He began following the same routine each day. Arrive at the lab at 7 a.m. Spend the first half of the day welding, cutting, and rewiring the reactor. Spend the rest of the day experimenting with the modified reactor to see what it can do. At 7 p.m.
My car is sick. I'll take it apart. No, it's not even that. It's like, my car gets a bad miles per gallon. I'll just make a new car and then spend a year making a new car. Like, what? Like, I'll invent a new type of engine. What? Like, my miles per gallon is too low. I'll spend the next year just inventing a new engine.
Go home, eat dinner, wash, and sleep. Nakamura repeated this routine every single day, taking no weekends and no holidays except for New Year's Day, the most important
Actual
holiday in
demon
Japan.
mode. My car broke down, so I was like, about the thing is, we're not talking about we're like, if one of our cars broke down, we could buy a replacement part. He didn't buy a replacement part. His engine like seized up, and instead of going, I'm gonna buy another engine, he went, I'm gonna invent a new engine that's better than every engine ever made. Like that's what he meant. That's how he did. That's what he did, right? Imagine driving up from work and he like, damn, I had to pay $15 to fill my tank today. That sucks. You know what? I'm gonna just make a better engine. I'm gonna invent a new engine no one has ever tried to make before. Like what? Are you serious?
After a year and a half of continuous work, he came into the lab on a winter day in late 1990. As usual, he tinkered around in the morning, grew a gallium nitride sample in the afternoon, and tested it. But this time, the electron mobility was 4 times higher than any gallium nitride ever grown directly on sapphire. Nakamura called it the most exciting day of his life. His trick was to add a second nozzle to the MOCVD reactor. The gallium nitride reactant gases had been rising in the hot chamber, mixing in the air to form a powdery waste. But the second nozzle released a downward stream of inert gas, pinning the first flow to the substrate to form a uniform crystal. For years, scientists had avoided adding a second stream to MOCVD because they thought it would only introduce more turbulence. But Nakamura used a special nozzle so that even when the streams combined, they remained laminar. He called his invention the two-flow reactor. Now he was ready to take on
That's crazy. What? That's so crazy. That I'm like just that little thing right there is fucking crazy to me, bro. Engineers, I'm quite stupid. I'm quite stupid. But like listening to these people being like 2 laminar flows intersecting, and even after they have intersected, they're both still laminar. It's crazy work, no?
But instead of
That's
copying
insane.
their aluminum nitride buffer layer, his two-flow design allowed him to make gallium nitride so smooth and stable, it itself could be used as a buffer layer on the sapphire substrate. This, in turn, yielded an even cleaner crystal of gallium nitride on top, without the issues of aluminum.
Nakamura now had the highest quality gallium nitride crystals ever made. But just as he was getting started, things took a wrong turn.
While he had been in Florida, Nobuo Ogawa had stepped back from Nichia to become chairman. In his day, Nobuo had been a risk-taking scientist, designing the company's first products. It's why he supported Nakamura's lofty plans all this time. But in his place, his son-in-law, Eiji Ogawa, became CEO of the company.
Oh,
and the younger
no,
Ogawa
this son-in-law. No! The freak Nepo baby. The freak Nepo baby with no experience. The freak Nepo baby with no experience comes in and takes over. Of course. It always happens. This guy has... Oh, it always happens. Like, we have the 2 amazing, divine intellect engineers and scientists working together. And they're like, oh yeah, like, we have to do this. We have to take chances here. We know what's going on. And then they're like, but anyways... I'm gonna die now, and I'm gonna hire my GED moron son-in-law to be the new owner. This guy has never amounted to anything in his life. Anyways, he's the new owner.
But in his place, his son-in-law, Eiji Ogawa, became CEO of the company. And the younger Ogawa had a much stricter outlook. One Nichia client said, he has a mind of steel, and he remembers everything. In 1990, an executive at Matsushita, an LED manufacturer and Nichia's biggest customer, visited the company to give a talk on blue LEDs. In it, he claimed zinc selenide was the way forward, declaring gallium nitride has no future. That very same day, Nakamura received a note from Eiji. Stop work on gallium nitride immediately. Eiji had never supported the research and wanted to end what he...
This always happens, man. This happens in every industry, in every company, in every facet of life. A young kid with no experience comes in and by birthright just starts ruining it, right? Why? By merit, please.
He saw
by
as
merit.
a colossal waste. But Nakamura crumpled up the note and threw it away. And he did so again and again when a succession of similar notes and phone calls came from company management.
It's crazy. It's crazy. The only reason we have OLED TVs, monitors right now is because this fucking guy just said, fuck you. This engineer said, fuck you to his boss over and over and over again. That's the only reason we have TVs right now. That's crazy, you know? The only reason we have screens and TV now is because this engineer said, fuck you to his boss over and over again. That's
when a succession of similar notes and phone calls came from company management. Out of spite, he published his work on the two-flow reactor without Nichia's knowledge. It was his first paper. One down, 4 to go. With crystal formation settled, he turned to the second obstacle, creating P-type gallium nitride. Here, Akazaki and Amano had again beaten him to the punch. They had created a gallium nitride sample doped with magnesium, but at first it didn't perform as a P-type as they expected. However, after exposing it to an electron beam, it did behave as a P-type, the world's first P-type gallium nitride after 20 years of trying. The catch was that no one knew why it worked, and the process of irradiating each crystal with
No, the thing is, this is everything. Oh, this was trying to get a PhD. Oh, he was doing a side quest at the moment. Dude, this is every big invention, man. Like every big leap, literally every single big leap in technology ever. I'm like dead ass. Every single big leap in technology ever has been people doing stuff on the side. It's always someone doing something on the side, which is crazy, right? Like the invention of non-stick pans. The invention of non-stick pans was just like one engineer at, was it BP? Like one engineer at BP just fucking around. Like, oh wow, I just made a new chemical that's a non-stick. And it's like, that's just, okay, he just fixed the world. And like, it's just crazy. Every single time, it's like some genius on a side quest that's being hindered by his bosses. Every single time. Same with PCs, right? Like Linux. Like Linux, the software which runs every single server in the world, Linux was made by some fucking guy for fun. What? Some random guy just decided to make Linux, which is the most important operating software in the world. What? And it's free. And no one can use it. What? For fun. He made it for fun. Like, it's crazy. It's that energy is like in every sector of the world, in every sector of every industry across the world. It's always some amazing genius just doing something for fun, right? Like trying something new. Like Linus Torvald, which is the guy that made Linux. Linux is the software, the operating system that runs like 80% of the world's servers. He made that whole thing just for fun one summer. What? That's crazy. That's crazy. I mean, Blilly was because PhD. No, I promise you, he could have gotten a PhD way easier. He could have made a PhD way easier. Like he wanted the challenge. He could have backed off. Like, why is he ignoring his bosses? He can make like the easy, simple, lowball papers just to get his PhD for free. He was like, no. And he's like, I want to make the blue LED, even if it's horribly hard and I will have a ton of opposition. I want to be the one who makes the blue LED. And then he did it. And he spent years doing it with gigantic opposition, huge opposition, even from his own co-workers. Like, this is what the geniuses of the world. People like him, people like Nakamura, is how humanity progresses.
With electrons was too slow for commercial production. At first, Nakamura copied Akazaki and Amano's approach, but he suspected the beam of electrons was overkill. Maybe all the crystal needed was energy. So he tried heating magnesium-doped gallium nitride to 400 degrees Celsius in a process known as annealing. The result? A completely P-type sample. This worked even better than the shallow electron beam, which only made the surfaces of the samples P-type. And simply heating things up was a quick, scalable process. His work also revealed why the P-type had been so difficult. To make gallium nitride with MOCVD, you supply the nitrogen from ammonia. But ammonia also contains hydrogen. Where there should have been holes in the magnesium-doped gallium nitride, these hydrogen atoms were sneaking in and bonding with the magnesium, plugging all the holes. Adding energy to the system released the hydrogen from the material, freeing up the holes again.
Sneaky fucking bastard!
By now, Nakamura had all the ingredients to make a prototype blue LED, and he presented it at a workshop in St. Louis in 1992 and received a standing ovation. He was beginning to make a name for himself. But even though he had created the best prototype to date, it was more of a blue-violet color and still extremely inefficient, with a light output power of just 42 microwatts, well below the 1000 microwatt threshold for practical use.
At Nichia, the new CEO's patience had run out. AG sent written orders.
Yeah, yeah, again, the new CEO, reminder, the new CEO is the son of the uncle of the previous owner. It's someone with no experience, nepotism, cringe shit. The new CEO is literally someone that's like, oh, he's my uncle's son, and he just doesn't understand how, like, it's so sad. Like, I'm getting mad thinking about it. Like, this amazing, brilliant mind is getting stopped by someone who has never faced opposition in their life ever.
To Nakamura to stop tinkering and turn whatever he had into a product. His job was on the line. But in Nakamura's own words, I kept ignoring his order. I had been successful because I didn't listen to company orders and trusted my own judgment.
Oh my god!
At this point, he only had the third hurdle left,
ignoring
getting
my
his blue
boss's
LED to a
orders,
light
'cause I
output
knew I
power of
was
1,000 microwatts.
Giga Turbo Mega Chad.
A known trick to increase
Oh
the efficiency
God.
of LEDs was to create a well,
dumbass
a
fucking
thin layer
boss
of material
has
at the
no
p-n
idea.
junction called an
So I
active
just
layer
kept doing it.
that shrinks the band gap just a bit. This encourages more electrons to fall from the n-type conduction band into holes in the p-type valence band. The best active layer for gallium nitride was already known to be indium gallium nitride, which would not only make the band gap easier to cross, but also narrow it just the right amount to bring its blue-violet gap down to true blue. This time, Akazaki and Amano didn't scoop Nakamura. They were stuck trying to grow indium gallium nitride in the first place. Amano recalled, it was generally said that gallium nitride and indium nitride would not mix, like water and oil. But Nakamura had an advantage, his ability to customize his MOCVD reactor. This allowed him to use brute force, adjusting the reactor to pump as much indium as he could onto the gallium nitride in the hopes that at least some would stick.
That's crazy.
To his surprise, the technique worked, giving him a clean indium gallium nitride crystal. He quickly incorporated this active layer into his LED,
That's
but the well worked a
crazy.
little too well and overflowed with electrons, leaking them back into the
No, it's actually crazy. It's like, imagine this, okay? You're writing a Word document. You're writing a Word document, and like, this takes forever. Like clicking every single button, that takes forever. I just want to like, no, how can I make this happen faster? Clicking every button and deleting when there's a mistake, it's taking me forever. And he comes in and he's like, yeah, so anyways, I just developed a probe you can put on your hand, and now it can just think whatever you want. And it's perfect every single time. It's always perfect. I just invented this thing that's 10,000 times better than the world leading class. What? Like, yeah, on normal, miles per gallon is 24 miles per gallon. Anyways, so I went and made another engine. This engine is 24,000 miles per gallon. So you'll make maybe 5 gallons per lifetime of the car. Because I just like, I just made a new engine. It worked pretty well. Like, what? Your invention changed the world. It's 1,000 times better than anything else. What do you mean?
gallium nitride layers. Unfazed, within a few months, Nakamura had fixed this too, by creating the opposite of a well, a hill. He returned to his reactor one more time to make aluminum gallium nitride, a compound with a larger band gap that could block electrons from escaping the well once inside. The structure of the blue LED had become far more complex than anyone could have imagined. But it was complete. By 1990,
That is crazy. Look how small it is, though. Like, look how small this thing is. Like, think about this. Think about this for 1 second. Think about this for 1 second. If you're watching this video, hello, on a full HD screen, 1080p screen, think about this for 1 second. Imagine your screen, right? Like, take your phone out. Take your phone out. Take your phone out and looking. There is 1,080 of this every single direction. And there's 1,080 of this. 1,920 times the other way. So in other words, let's look calculator. There's 1,080 height-wise, and there is 1,980 the other way. There's 2.1 million of these crystals in your hand right now. 2.1 million of these exact crystals. Except no, because you need red and you need green, right? Red, green, blue, RGB. So you need times 3. There is 6.2 million of these microscopic creations in your hand. Let me remind you, most phone screens are not 1080p. They're usually 1440p. So that would be 1440 times, what's 1440p again? 1440 times 21, where's 40p? Whatever. There's 30 million small crystals made in your hand. No, I'm sorry, 11 million. 11 million. 11 million. That's impossible. That's impossible. 11 million of these tiny, perfectly made. These are so perfect. The crazy part about this whole thing, this entire crystal is so perfect. It could never, ever be like random. It's so perfect. It's like rolling 1,000, and it's just crazy. Like, how is it possible? How is it possible? There's no zero. Yeah, CPUs and GPUs are even crazier. CPUs and GPUs are even crazier. Like, there's this whole, like, imagine if you would, I don't even know. Like, imagine if you had a way to map every single street on Earth, right? Every single street. You had every single street perfectly mapped down and times it by 1,000. That is 1 GPU. Every single street humanity has ever mined. Every single street humanity has ever mined times 1,000, and it's all engraved on something as big as a fingerprint. Every single street humanity has ever made. It's all condensed down to the size of a fingernail. That's what PCs are, by the way. That's what computers are. How fucking insane is that?
More complex than anyone could have imagined. But it was complete. By 1992, Shuji Nakamura had this.
And I showed the chairman. I told him, please, chairman, come to my office. I showed the blue LED. And he said,
that's the man! That's the fucking guy right there! That's him! That's the goat! That's the goat! That's the guy! That's the guy! That's the fucking guy on my screen! That's the guy who invented the LEDs in my screen. Cool, let's see him!
It's great.
Yeah, that's my boy.
I'm so happy. At my office, yeah.
After 30 years of searching
Legend.
by countless scientists,
Legend.
Nakamura had done it. He had created a glorious bright blue LED.
That's crazy because he is one of those people in the world. It's like, if he's like, what's the 50 most influential people of human history? He's like top 10, I think. Top 10, not top 10, top 20, top 30 most influential humans ever. He's like number 9.
That could even be seen in daylight. It had a light output power of 1,500 microwatts and emitted a perfect blue at exactly 450 nanometers. It was over 100 times brighter than the previous pseudo-blue LEDs on the market. Nakamura wrote, "I felt like I had reached the top of Mount Fuji." Nichia called a press conference in Tokyo
Makes
to
sense.
announce the world's first true blue LED. The electronics industry was stunned. A researcher from Toshiba remarked, "Everyone was caught with their pants down." The effect on Nichia's fortunes was immediate and explosive. Orders flooded in, and by the end of 1994, they were manufacturing 1 million blue LEDs per month. Within 3 years, the
1 million per month? How many blue LEDs do you think they make in 2020? They made 8 million blue LEDs in that time? And I was like, no, dude. I wish it was 1 million per hour. It's probably in the trillions. Trillions per day. Just for reference, my screen right now, which there is millions of the same. There's millions of these screens made every year, has what? It's a 4K screen. So that's like 20. What's it called? What's 4K? What's 4K resolution? What's 4K resolution? It's hold on, like 3,690 times. What is 4K again? 2440? Like some. I don't know this. Like what? What is 4K again? A billion per hour. That sounds right. 3840 by 2160. Thank you. 3840 by 2160. That's 8 million. That's 8 million blue LEDs per screen, and they make millions of screens per hour. Like the blue LEDs are Giga Deluxe Omega Turbo Giga. Like, there's so many. We'll probably see here. Let's see. Let's see.
1994, they were manufacturing 1
In 1984,
and explosive. Orders flooded in, and by the end of 1994, they were manufacturing 1 million
by the end of 1994, they were producing 1 million per day.
blue LEDs per month. Within
Per month. 1 million per month, okay? 1 million per month, 1994.
3 years, the company's revenue had nearly doubled. In 1996, they made the jump from blue to white by placing a yellow phosphor over the LED. This chemical absorbs the blue photons and re-radiates them in a broad spectrum across the visible range. Soon enough, Nichia was selling the world's first white LED.
Yeah, if you look back at 1994, you could take this entire company, this entire billion-dollar company, their entire output would make one 4K monitor. Their entire output from a year.
At last, unlocking the final frontier so many had doubted: LED lighting. Over the next 4 years, their sales doubled again. By 2001, their revenue was approaching $700 million a year. Over 60% came from blue LED products. Today, Nichia is one of the largest LED manufacturers in the world, with an annual revenue in the billions. As for Nakamura, to whom Nichia owed the quadrupling of its fortunes,
I increased my salary 60,000. The number. Yeah.
I heard you only got a $170 bonus.
It's patent.
So you got a $170 bonus for the patent.
Yes.
this was all while the blue
What? Are we serious?
LED was generating hundreds of millions of dollars in sales. Eiji Ogawa had always seen Nakamura's stubborn individuality as a liability, not a strength. The message was clear. In 2000, after more than 20 years at Nichia, Nakamura left the company for the US, where job offers had been pouring in. But his troubles with Nichia weren't over. He began consulting for Cree, another LED company. Nichia was furious and sued him for leaking company secrets. Nakamura responded by countersuing Nichia for never properly compensating him for his invention, seeking $20 million. In 2001, the Japanese courts ruled with Nakamura and ordered Nichia to pay him 10 times his initial request. But
Okay, at least I was scared for. I was worried for a second there. I was worried that Japanese courts would back up the company. Luckily, a judge had ordered Nichia, the company, to pay Nakamura $200 million.
But Nichia appealed, and the case was eventually settled with a payout of $8 million.
Oh, okay, so fuck me, I guess. My bad, guys. So that was 5%. That's 5% of the original payout.
In the end, this was only enough to cover Nakamura's legal fees. This is all he got for an invention that now comprises an $80 billion industry. From house lights to street lights.
No, it's way more. This is crazy. He called it an $80 billion industry. That's not true. It's not an $80 billion industry. That's not true. Every single tech company in the world right now uses blue LEDs. Every single AI company, every single electronics company, like his invention is like 75% of the world's money. Like Nvidia wouldn't be a thing. Nvidia wouldn't be a thing without blue LEDs. Nvidia would not be a thing without blue LEDs. Media, our current media right now, would not be a thing without blue LEDs. Every single information company, Microsoft, Facebook, TikTok, everything, would not be a company without screens. We wouldn't have screens. It's like 80% of the world's GDP is tied into blue LEDs.
While you watch this video on a phone, computer, or TV, if you're outside following traffic lights or displays, chances are you are relying on blue LEDs.
We might even be getting too much of them. You may have heard warnings to avoid blue light from screens before bed because it can disrupt your circadian rhythm. That all comes from the gallium nitride blue LED.
But as for lighting, there are virtually no downsides to an LED bulb. Compared to an incandescent or fluorescent bulb, they are far more efficient. They last many times longer, are safer to handle, and are completely
We love LEDs. LEDs, my boy. We love LEDs. And the LED lovers in chat.
customizable. 30 years after the first white
We
LED,
love
high-end bulbs
LEDs. Philips Hue bulbs, please.
today allow you to choose between 50,000 different shades of white.
Most importantly, their price has come down to only a couple of dollars more than other types of bulbs.
The thing is, if you look at this, it's 3 times more expensive, right? But the thing is, if you run this light bulb for a year, it's gonna be like $11, and you'll have to buy a new one. It'll burn out. If you use this light bulb, it will last 1/100th as long. It will be 1/100th as efficient. So you'll literally pay 10 times more for one of these ones. even though the initial price is a little bit lower.
And at their efficiency,
Yeah.
with average daily use and electricity pricing, you can recoup that cost in only 2 months and continue to save.
Yeah, just in 2 months. Just in 2 months, you'll make your money back. Now imagine that all over 10 years. Like you will save. Okay, so imagine in your house, you have a medium-sized house. You have 50 light bulbs over a year. You'll save so much money. Over 5 years, over 10 years, you'll save thousands of dollars. Thousands of dollars.
For years after that.
Thousands of thousands. I'm sorry, I don't live in a small ass fucking house. Sorry, Gloob. In my room right now, in my singular room, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 light bulbs. I have 15 light bulbs in my room, my singular room. If they were all incandescent, no. Like, it's fine. If you guys live in some fucking... No, I have downlights. Do you guys know what downlights are? Do you guys not know what downlights are? I have this. Do you guys not know what downlights are? Downlights. Do you guys not know what downlights are? Oh my god. I feel like I'm talking to fucking animals. I'm talking to animals. That's 6 bulbs right there. Yeah, downlights. Yeah, it's lights in the roof. Yeah, so you get a ton of them. 7, I guess, members live in yours, I guess. They're downlights, yeah. And if you have, like, imagine a room like this, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, all 8, 9, 20. Yeah, there's like 25 light bulbs in this room. If they're all incandescent, they're 10 times more expensive to run. That's 500 light bulbs.
The result is a lighting revolution.
In 2010, just 1% of residential lighting sales in the world were LED. In 2022, it was over half. Experts estimate that within the next 10 years, nearly all lighting sales will be LED. The energy savings will be enormous.
We
Lighting
love
accounts for
LED.
5% of all carbon emissions. A full switch to LEDs could save an estimated 1.4 billion tons of CO2, equivalent to taking
love
almost half the
LEDs.
cars in the world
I'm
off the
number
road.
1 LED lover.
Today, Nakamura's research is on the next generation of LEDs, micro-LEDs and UV LEDs.
So what are they making in there?
LED laser power device. This is one of the best facility in the US.
And this is because of you. Well, what's a standard LED size?
300 times 200 microns.
Okay.
Smallest is 5 microns.
That is insanely tiny.
So basically you can use that for like near-eye displays, such as AR and VR.
The
You can have like a
goat
retina
is
display
still
that's like right up
cooking.
here. Yep.
He's
Human hair would be
still
about that thick?
cooking more LEDs.
that's a really, really tiny LED.
No, but micro LED. No, I've heard of this. Micro LED TVs are like the new way to go now. Micro LED TVs are like the best kind of TVs now.
UV LEDs could be used to sterilize surfaces like in hospitals or kitchens. Just flick on the UV lights and pathogens would be dead in seconds.
COVID-19, UV LED company stock price is skyrocketed because everybody expects using these UV LEDs. We can sterilize all the COVID-19,
For anything there, we use indium gallium nitride. For UV, we use aluminum gallium nitride.
Okay.
Because band gap is much bigger.
Do you think this is what's coming?
It's okay, it works, but probably the cost is too high. Since it's less than 10%, the cost is very high. But if the efficiency becomes more than 50%, cost is almost comparable to the market leader.
And you think it will happen, right? Like the efficiency will go up.
Yeah, I think so.
It's just a matter of time.
Yes, I think so.
And he's even tackling one of the biggest challenges of our time.
I'm interested in physics. So.
Me too.
I'm still interested in nuclear fusion, so recently I started the company of nuclear fusion.
He's doing nuclear fusion as a side project. He's just doing nuclear fusion as a side project.
Really?
Last year.
No way.
Okay.
In 2014,
No way!
Nakamura, Akazaki, and Amano were awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics for creating the blue LED. Shortly afterwards,
Deserved.
Nakamura published
Wait, is that the hard-ass boss? Wait, is that the fucking hard-ass boss? Nepo baby? Or am I crazy?
awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics for creating the blue LED. Shortly afterwards, Nakamura publicly thanked Nichia
Oh
for
my
supporting his
God.
work, and he offered to visit and make amends, but they turned down his offer. And today, their relationship is still cold. But perhaps even more important than the Nobel Prize, by the time Nakamura released his blue LED in 1994, he had published over 15 papers, and he finally received his doctorate in engineering. Today, he has published over 900 papers. Throughout his entire journey, one thing has never changed. What is your favorite color?
Oh, blue.
Was it always blue or only after you made the LED?
I was born in the fishery village. In front of the house is the ocean, blue always.
Favorite color? Blue. Favorite color is blue. Makes sense.